Okay, Matt, this is sort of the last stand of Christmas. We're packing Jane and Steve and the kids up tonight, and you can see Marilyn here in the background with Kathy. Unfortunately, she has her pacifier tonight because she's a little restless right now. But I wanted to tell you about the present I promised I would explain on the phone. I assembled a set of scrapbooks, I guess you'd call them, this year. One each for you and Tom and Jane, and one for Uncle Sonny. And this is yours. Of course, I didn't want to mail it to you. And I'll just read a little bit to you from the introductions that explains what it is. It starts out by saying, Christmas 1992. To my dear family, present and future. This year, my most important present for you is a gift of heritage and of love, a collection of the writings of my mother, Almera Anderson Romney. It is also a gift in the making, as I hope to add more transcriptions of her work in the future. As you know, ever since my sister Jane and I decided on assembling a book of remembrance as a gift for Mother on her 75th birthday, I have been working on assembling important documents and memorabilia from Mother's life. And then I go on to explain a little bit how I came across all these things, some of which you know. You've seen some of them before. And I went on, and I've described what each of these sections is and how I have gone about preparing it. And I sent you an example in your Christmas package of, it's part of the memoir section. So the three sections of the book, the first is called Family, Childhood, and Youth. And each section I explain a little bit more about where I found the manuscripts that are in it and in what condition and whether I've transcribed them or what. I think the first is one I sent you about where she was born and about her siblings and so forth. And then I include the manuscript of the story Little Lamb. I don't know if you have a copy of that or not, because she refers to that in a section as explaining about her brother Aaron. Then I used some colored Xeroxing in order to make good copies of some of the priceless photographs we had in Grandma's scrapbook. The pictures that go with the contents, and they turned out so well. They're so hard to tell from original photographs that I'm going to try to add to this for other birthdays and holidays in the future, because they really turned out remarkably accurately. The next section is on her education, and you can see here there's a collection of 3 report cards that she received. South Sanpete High School, 1919, Snow Normal College, 1921-22, and Brigham Young University, 1930, with her grades, so you can see if she was as good a student as she said she was. This section on education was new to me. I found this one for the first time when I was assembling all her manuscripts just recently, and I really found it a delight. I think you'll love it. None of these really end as a formal ending. I think each of them was something she started all of these were written quite late in her life, and I think most of them ended before she really intended them to. So here's her transcript from Manti High School and a transcript from BYU. The last section in this part is, 2 of them. One about the holidays, telling how they celebrated the 24th of July and the 4th of July, just briefly. And then the one that she worked on with you years ago for the family home evening in 1979 about her music lessons. I don't know if you remember doing that with her or not, but here are a copy of your original notes that you prepared with her help, dated July 2nd, 1979, and your writing and hers, opening song, opening prayer, etc. Evidently the Martins were there to do it with us. I also included a copy of her manuscript on that, just to record the way she actually wrote it down. And of course, this was done after her stroke. The next section is early professional experiences. And these were really old, funky manuscripts that I dug out of papers of hers. The first one is actually typed Almera Anderson, so it was written before she married. And I don't know what the class was she wrote it for. Laugh Your Teaching Worries to Death, or We Like a Teacher, What Laughs she's printed in. It has a lot of editing marks on it. It was a real old carbon that I found. The second one is a wonderful one, a 2-part one that she wrote later in her life about what teaching children to read, first in Manti and then at Huntington School. Quite a long manuscript, again heavily edited, but really fabulous. It's one I'm going to use as a source a lot in my dissertation. The third section is called Huntington School Experiences, and is based on her later professional life. I have, again, some really good reproductions of the pictures. The first of Miss Anderson, a teacher at Manti Elementary School at age 19.
Could you hold it more vertical? It's reflecting the light.
How's that?
Fine.
That shows her as a young woman with one of her classes at Manti Elementary School. And you know, after I held this up and I was looking at it after I had it copied, I looked at it and I thought, and I suddenly realized, my gosh, there's my cousin Carol Horsepool, you know, the gal that lived down in El Monte, who was a school teacher. She looks so much as a little girl the way she does as a grown-up. I instantly realized that's who it was. And on the other side, for contrast, I have the famous picture of her with her first class at Huntington School with Mimi and Betty that she talks about in her story, which is certainly an interesting contrast between classes of kids. The first piece in this one is the little piece that she wrote called Circa 1946 about Mimi and Betty going out to sell Girl Scout cookies and being threatened with a gun. Could you have David not do that for a minute? And then the second one is called The Principal Thinks About Discipline,